call to adventure? The crossing of the first threshold? What even is this stuff? You might be familiar with a book called The Hero with a Thousand Faces by Joseph Campbell. If not, you're probably still familiar with the concept of the hero's journey, and this is the book that kind of started the whole idea. Now, Campbell was a literature professor, and he was studying various mythologies and found that there were a lot of similarities between them. A basic structure that the stories he looked at almost always followed. He called this the hero's journey because it usually followed either a literal or a metaphorical journey undertaken by the protagonist of the story. The ways that he described it, though, can be a little bit difficult to understand if you don't really know what he's talking about. For instance, the meeting with the goddess, the woman as the temptress, atonement with the father, the ultimate boon. Like, what do those mean? In 1992, a screenwriter named Christopher Vogler published The Writer's Journey, which was kind of a guide to the hero's journey for writers. There were multiple editions of this, and I don't have the original. I have the 25th anniversary edition right here. But basically, what Vogler did is he took Campbell's hero's journey and boiled it down into a format that was a little bit more useful for writers, storytellers, screenwriters, and so on. Vogler's version was heavily based off of Campbell, and he gives Campbell, the credit for coming up with it. In Vogler's version, sometimes many different stages from Campbell's Hero with a Thousand Faces version are combined into one. So for instance, the ordeal equates to the meeting with the goddess, the woman as temptress, the atonement with the father, and the apotheosis. And the road back equates to the refusal of the return, the magic flight, rescue from without, crossing the threshold, and return. But basically, both books tell the story of a hero who starts off in the ordinary world. It won't necessarily be our world. It might be a completely fictional world, or it might be a different time or place. But they start off living everyday life, and then all of a sudden something happens to them. That's called the call to adventure. The call to adventure is basically just what gets the story starting, whatever takes them out of their ordinary day-to-day life and gets them involved in the story's adventure. So think of Harry Potter's Hogwarts letters or the Reaping in the Hunger Games. Shortly after the call to adventure, there might be a stage called the refusal of the call, where the hero doesn't want to. Think Luke Skywalker in the first Star Wars movie. He's hesitant at first to join the rebellion. He has responsibilities back home. He's not sure what to do. But then there will be something else, like in this case, the death of his aunt and uncle, that will put him completely on the path to undertaking this journey. They will then cross the threshold into the extraordinary world. When they leave the Shire in The Hobbit, when Harry goes through the barrier into platform 9 3/4 in Harry Potter. And then there will be many different obstacles that they'll face along the way. All of this leads up to the novel's climax, which is known as the ordeal, or several different stages that kind of relate to that in Campbell's version from Hero with a Thousand Faces. The ordeal basically is the face-off with the bad guy. The hero wins, and they receive some kind of a reward, but then they have to go back home. Sometimes they don't want to, sometimes they face obstacles in their journey back home. And in a stage called Return with Elixir, their ordinary, everyday life somehow benefits from the journey that they went on. So even though they're going back home, it's not the same. They're not the same person that they were when they left, and things will never be the same once they return. But in a stage that Campbell called the Master of Two Worlds, they're able to kind of synthesize the two together and live happily ever after, basically. Or even if they don't live happily ever after, there is some ultimate benefit to the journey that they undertook. Now, I know that that is a lot of information and only skims the surface of the hero's journey. So what I want to do is, I probably won't get to this until January, but I want to make a series of videos about the hero's journey, breaking it down stage by stage, looking at how it plays out in actuality in stories that you might be familiar with from books, movies, TV shows, and whatnot, and looking at the two different versions and how they're similar and different in the places where they do differ. So look forward to that in January, and in the meantime you can look forward to more literary concepts, probably some seasonal videos in December, and coming up very soon an update from me on my progress with NaNoWriMo. So feel free to subscribe if you haven't yet, and I'll see you in the next video.